Well, hey now. Welcome to Fitz's Electric Bar and another Singles Going Steady. I'm doing my second installment. The idea with this is that the way that we interact with singles is, of course, very different than albums. We buy them because the song is, especially the A side, is something that is going to be usually very upbeat, especially in the punk and new wave area. Super upbeat, and it's going to be a song that we're probably going to play many times and then kind of put it away for a while. And often it's an introduction to an album, but a single stands alone. And in the UK in particular, singles were huge. Right back to the days of the Beatles, often the singles didn't end up on full albums. In America, they usually did. But a lot of my singles I got were either in Canada or Canadian pressed or UK pressed, not a lot of American pressed ones, but especially because the music that I was listening to, a lot of it was coming out of the UK in the mid to late 70s and early 80s. So once again, I've taken a handful of 10 records and I will speak to each one of them. First one up, Reckless Eric. So Reckless Eric on Stiff Records. This particular single, I think the A side, if I'm not mistaken, is Hit and Miss Judy. That is the A side indeed. There's the cover again. Stiff Records, just a fabulous looking label. This one, if you saw my first one, there was a different tagline. This one, Stiff Records, the shape of things that win. And you'll notice that Stiff Records is spelled W-R in this case, as a tribute to, I guess, Reckless Eric. Reckless Eric wrote the song I'd Go the Whole Wide World, which was on that movie Strange Fiction, I think. I think I got the title wrong a little bit, but Maggie Gyllenhaal and Will Ferrell and Emma Thompson. And it was covered by, I think, somebody else on that particular record, but a real classic single and one of the first things for Reckless Eric. And this one, a UK pressing of Hit and Miss Judy. There's Hit and Miss Judy. And then the flip side was Let's Go to the Pictures and I Need a Situation. I'll be honest, I don't really remember any of these songs. But I had the chance to, when I went to England, I've told this story before, as a backpacker in 1981, looking for shows when I first arrived, and Reckless Eric at Dingwalls. It was a good chance to see a show at Dingwalls because that was kind of a real institution, and particularly for the Two-Tone Madness specials and that kind of stuff. Next up, The Jam. Another UK pressing, Absolute Beginners, and Tales from the Riverbank. And it came with a nice little insert with the lyrics to Absolute Beginners. Not my favorite Jam song, but in those days I was often, what would happen is the singles would come out before the album and it'd be, your next hit of music from that artist, and I was certainly into the Jam. I've got a good Jam story I'll tell briefly here, which was going to see the Jam play. It was the Gift tour, and went to see them in Toronto. And I was a film student at that time at university, and I took a Super 8 camera film projector with me, film camera with me, and filmed some of the Jam stuff, and security took the camera away from me, and I never got it back, and I had to go back and confess my indiscretion to my professor, who told me that he had many years ago done the same thing at a Led Zeppelin concert, and the same thing had happened. So he forgave me, which is pretty awesome. I've got so many Elvis Costello singles. This one's I Can't Stand Up for Falling Down and Girls Talk. B-side, Secondary Modern, and King Horse. In fact, I think I've got two singles of this, slightly different cover versions. I'm going to take a look and see. This one looks like it was Canadian. Actually, this is a New York pressing. So, as often the case with Columbia and in the US, the label was pretty standard. Didn't have the You know, one of the nice things about a lot of British pressing was that it would go right to the edge and there'd just be the hole like in a 33 and a third. And that was great. So this is really an EP. I mean, it's got I Can't Stand Up for Falling Down, Girls Talk, which was better known as a Rockpile song, but it was written by Elvis Costello. And then Secondary Modern, King Horse, so all from Get Happy. Elvis. Another Elvis. One of the first things I think I heard after the first record, but I Don't Want to Go to Chelsea. What a classic song. That sound of Pete Thomas's drum. Sorry. Yeah, Pete Thomas's drum, not Bruce. Bruce is the bass player. Pete Thomas's drums and just that angular guitar coming in, just fantastic. So another EP, Tiny Steps and Night Rally on that side, and I Don't Want to Go to Chelsea. This was an American pressing. No, Canadian pressing. This is a very generic one, but was a single that was a big hit, and that was the Boomtown Rats, I Don't Like Mondays. Wasn't a huge Boomtown Rats fan, but that single was an excellent single. It's All the Rage, the B-side. No cover or anything like that. That would have been a domestic release, probably in Canada. Here's an interesting one, Holly and the Italians. I actually saw Holly and the Italians played the famous Heatwave concert near Moseport, north of Toronto, and I'm going to do a whole segment on that in the future. But this was, I believe, a UK on Virgin Records. Holly and the Italians. Tell That Girl to Shut Up. That was the song that I really enjoyed. Tell That Girl to Shut Up. And backed with Chapel of Love, the old girl group classic. Now, for those who are Canadian, I don't know that he had much of a profile in America or in the UK, but Nash the Slash. So he would get dressed up, wrapped in bandages, and play this violin with lots of treatments and things like that. So it's just him. And the A side is Dead Man's Curve, the cover of the old, that was Beach Boys, I think, right? I think Brian Wilson wrote that, co-wrote it. And Swing Shift, I don't remember that exactly. This was on a Canadian label, Cutthroat Records, and they, I think, got, kind of an idea from Stiff Records and their great taglines, and upside down there. And the tagline for Cutthroat Records, which may have been really just for Nash the Slash, but music in a particular vein, Cutthroat Records. Nash the Slash, another Elvis Costello. I think every group of 10 singles that I picked will probably have at least one and maybe multiple Elvis Costello. So this is off of Imperial Bedroom, the cover From Head to Toe. On the other side, they have a breakdown there of the UK tour, Imperial Bedroom UK tour. I saw that tour when it came to Ottawa, I believe. I was in Kingston at the time in the summer of '82, and the opening band was Talk Talk, again on the Canadian arm of the tour, a band that I've come to love over the years. Yeah, so the A side is From Head to Toe. On F-Beat, F-Beat was the label that Jake Riviera, who was Elvis Costello's manager, started after he left Stiff Records. F-Beat, and the B-side, World of Broken Hearts. I don't actually remember that one very well. Nice covers. This one's kind of a real gem. Again, more for Canadian fans, but Pointed Sticks. So Pointed Sticks were an awesome punk band. In fact, they're still, or they got back together and are playing intermittently here in Vancouver. Vancouver-based band, but they're kind of claim to fame, and I got to see them at the Edge in Toronto in the early days. But they were signed to Stiff Records. This is actually I'm assuming a self-produced 45, and it's got the very basic, not even a proper sleeve, which is fine. And then on one side it says Pointed Sticks. The flip side, Quintessence Records. Again, I'm not sure if this was their own label that they put this out on, or if this might have been connected with Zulu Records. I'm not sure. For those of you in Vancouver, you'd know the Institution of Zulu and Grant McDonough. But again, I don't know if that's the case. But Pointed Sticks, this single was What Do You Want Me to Do on the A side and Somebody's Mum on the B side, before they got signed to Stiff Records. They never really went anywhere with Stiff, unfortunately. I don't think they really had a lot of success, but they were a great band. Really enjoyed them. And finally, yet another Elvis Costello. So this is a UK version of I Can't Stand Up for Falling Down and Girls Talk on the B side. And again, another F-beat release. Right there, oopsie. Always hard, they don't have it exactly aligned. So that's it, another chunk of 10 of my 7-inch singles collection. I'm thinking I probably have at least another 10 or 12 of these episodes, 10 7-inch singles each time. And sometimes they'll bring back great memories, and sometimes they'll be just, hardly memorable at all, but by artists that some of you out there may be interested in. So, Carpe Diem, MFs, and thank you very much for listening. If you like this, subscribe down below. I am keeping track of the views to get a sense on, I'm still a neophyte at all of this. I started in January of this year. But I'm trying to get a sense of what people might be interested in. And I've been doing mood music. I've been doing show me your tickets, because I really love sharing the stories of live shows that are quite memorable. And then just a variety of things, and another section here on Singles Going Steady. And we'll just go from there. So thanks for joining. See you next time.